StrayAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that, Dre? That is this thing called the go-getter energy that moves you to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy. It's called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is we're going to talk the keys to a successful client-based business. And this is something that I have touched on in the future. I'll refer to you to some other material in a minute when I find it, if I find it. But before I get to that, I want to remind you of two things. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation text messages guaranteed to have you focus sharp and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. All you got to do to receive these once we start sending them out again is text me at my number, 305-384-6894, when we start sending those messages again. So if you text me, you don't get a response because we're not sending them yet. But when we do, you'll be getting those again straight to your phone. You'll be able to choose how often you want to hear from us as well. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is a place where I do all my coaching. I'm looking for top 2% performers. That is not everybody. It might be you. If you're an ambitious person and you understand that there are going to be some changes needed when it comes to your mentality, the way that you think, when it comes to the things that you do, when it comes to the processes that you operate by, and when it comes to making sure everything and everyone are being held accountable to do their jobs, then Work on Your Game University might be for you. So what I want you to do is go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can schedule a time to get on a call with us. There's no obligation. So we can find out where you're at, where you want to go, what you feel like might be in your way. And if we feel like we can help you and we feel you'd be a good fit for what we're doing, we'll tell you how it works and we take it from there. Again, workonyourgameuniversity.com. So getting into the topic here, the keys to a successful client business. In episode number 2060, I talked about who, what, and why, a framework for selling your ideal clients. In episode 1146, I told you the best way to get high-paying clients is to not need them in the first place. In episode 1128, I told you how to grow or expand a client base. And I think those are the ones that I want to refer you to here. Let's get into the topic here today. So when I say client-based business, what I'm talking about is a business in which you are providing a service rather than a product. So a product is something that somebody gets it from you and they take it with them and they leave. So like a phone is a product, whereas a service-based business is where you are going to be dealing with the person further even after they have made a financial transaction. Even if they've given you money, you're still working with them. So this is like a personal trainer as a client-based business. Actual coaching is a client-based business. So these are the type of businesses where you are consistently dealing with the person even though the transaction may have already been consummated, it already happened. So you are continuing to work with this individual as opposed to a product. So if somebody signs up for a course of yours, that you don't really have to give them a service unless your course includes some type of coaching. But let's just say it's just a course. They just get it and they can download the stuff and they can watch all the videos and read the material. They don't have to actually talk to you. That's a product. A bicycle tire is a product. A slice of pizza is a product. Those are more one-off transactions, whereas a client business means, again, you're continuing to deal with the person over and over and over again. You have to keep talking to them. You have to listen to what they have to say. They're going to listen to what you have to say. There's an engagement going on there. And today I'm going to outline the basic points you should understand about servicing clients, regardless of whether you are coaching people in their lives, walking their dogs, or washing their cars. All of these are clients. So you have to keep talking to these people. So there are some keys that you need to understand. Point number one. Topic once again today is the keys to a successful client-based business. Number one, the best coaches have the best players. The best coaches have the best players. One of the winningest coaches in the history of basketball, actually two of the winningest coaches, actually I'll give you all three of the winningest coaches that I'm thinking of in the history of basketball. You got Red Auerbach, who was the coach of the Boston Celtics way before many of us were alive. And he coached the Boston Celtics back when the NBA was a much smaller league, but it still was a league, and there were still good players, and the Boston Celtics dominated. And one of the reasons they dominated because they had the best players. There's the reason why Red Auerbach has gone down as one of the greatest coaches. In the 60s and 70s, there was a guy named John Wooden. He coached UCLA. They won a bunch of championships. At one point, they won like 96 games in a row, and the college season is only about 30 games. So this is several seasons. Nobody beat them, and they won all these championships. And someone once asked Coach Wooden, what's the key to having the best team and you being the best coach? And he said, oh, it's easy. Have the best players. And he was kind of speaking tongue in cheek, but he was also telling the truth. Then most contemporary is a guy named Phil Jackson. He was the coach of the Chicago Bulls. He coached a guy named Michael Jordan. He coached the LA Lakers with a guy named Kobe and Shaq. And then he left and he came back and coached Kobe without Shaq. And Phil Jackson won 11 rings in the NBA. One of the reasons Phil Jackson won 11 rings in the NBA, this is not out of his mouth, but I will say it, is because he picked the teams that had the best players. All right, he coached the team that had Michael damn Jordan. All right, I could have won one championship with Michael Jordan. I ain't no basketball coach, but I think if I had coached Michael Jordan in the '90s, I could have won at least one of those championships. I don't know if we would have won 6, but we would have won at least one. All right, why? Because Michael Jordan was on the team, not because of me. Same thing with Kobe and Shaq. I could have got at least one if I was coaching Kobe and Shaq, all right, because they were the best players. So the best coaches had the best players, folks. What does this have to do with you in a client-based business? The best coaches had the best clients. You're going to run a client-based business. The most important thing you need to do is not get better at what you do. You need to get better at choosing who you serve. You need to get better at choosing your clients. The best way to have a great service-based business is to pick good people for clients. Do not serve anybody and everybody. That's not going to lead to a great service-based business. It will not. I don't care how good you are. If you pick a bunch of bums as clients, you will not turn those bums into stars, and it's going to make you look bad, even though your skill set is exactly the same. So don't get it twisted here. It does mean you still need to be good at what you do, but it's even more important that you pick quality people to sell to, because when you sell your services to low quality people, that's worse than selling products to low quality people. Because if you sell a product to a low quality person, again, you don't have to see them or talk to them ever again. So if they do nothing with your product, it's not your responsibility. If you sell a course to a low quality person, they don't even go past module 1 of your course, that ain't really your responsibility, because you don't have to talk to them again. So that's their fault. They didn't do anything with the course. But if you sell a service to a low quality person, well, you got to keep talking to this bum. And now you made your life worse because you got to keep talking to a person who wasn't serious from the beginning. And it's your fault, because you should have noticed that they weren't serious and not sold them anything to start with. That was your fault for even making a sale to that bum. All right, that is your fault. If you sell services to a person, you have to keep dealing with them. So you have to be very selective about who you choose. So the question is, how do you pick the right clients? Well, the first thing is you got to decide what the right client means to you. What does it mean to have the right type of client? Here's a good way to find out who the right type of client is. Identify the wrong client. Any of you ever dealt with some wrong clients? Most of you who are in service-based businesses have done this before. If you ever had a client who was wrong, all right, think about everything that client represented. Write down all the things you didn't like about them, and then make sure you pick the people who are the opposite of that. All right, I've dealt with enough wrong clients to know what the right client is. It's just the opposite of the wrong person. All right, so if I'm ever talking to you, you go to come to workonyourgameuniversity.com, and there's a conversation that we have, and you display any of the traits of any of the wrong clients that I've dealt with in the past, I will immediately get rid of you. I will not be coaching you. I don't care how much money you offer me. It ain't happening. Why? Because it is not worth the headache, and nor are you even worth the money. So you got to decide who the right type of client is. Consider what qualities you want in a person who you're going to service, and the qualities that you do not want. And once you've dealt with a few people, you'll start to notice some commonalities. So the number one thing, best coaches have the best players. You want to have a great service-based business, then you have to decide who are the ideal people who I want to service. And the reason why you're going to do this is what we're going to get into on point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the keys to running a great client-based business. Number 2, stop trying to do magic. What I mean when I say stop trying to do magic, it doesn't mean don't do good at what you do. Of course, I already told you that. Do good at what you do. You do not have the ability, nor are you good enough to turn a bum into a superstar. I just mentioned the bums. Now let's talk about the superstars too. You can't turn a bum into a superstar. All right, Phil Jackson didn't turn Michael Jordan into Michael Jordan. He didn't turn Kobe into Kobe. All right, they were already Mike and Kobe when he got there, or they were going to be Mike and Kobe even if he didn't show up. Everybody catching what I'm saying here? All right, you can't turn a bum into Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, or you think of your best clients that you had. You can't turn bum clients into those people. It's impossible. And if you try, you will fail and lose a whole bunch of time in the process. So the person who's number one in your industry, those of you who have service-based business, whoever's the best in the world at what you do, or the best in your world, top person who's making the most money, who has the biggest name, all right, they're not that good either. All right, they may seem like they're good because of their name and their brand and how much money they allegedly make and all the people they've served, and their name is in lights and they're bright and shiny. It may seem like they're just so good at what they do. No, they're not. They're not that good. I mean, they may be better than you, but they're not that much better than you, probably. The only thing between them and you is that they're doing a better job of marketing and branding and selling themselves than you are. That's all. And they're doing it, and because of that, because of the job they're doing, marketing, branding, and selling themselves, they're doing a better job of picking their clients. And you are not doing as good a job of picking your clients, which is why you keep working with bums, trying to turn those bums into stars. You are failing at doing that. And then you feel disappointed because your business is not doing so well. And you're starting to think that the problem might be you. The problem is you, but it's not you. It is you in that you think the problem is maybe you're just not that good at what you do. No, that's not the problem. You are the problem, but not for that reason. You're the problem because you are picking the wrong people as clients. All right, that's the issue. All right, you're picking the wrong clients, or you're just not picking them at all. You're just taking on anybody and everybody, which is also a bad idea. Now, if you're first starting out, maybe you can take on anybody and everybody for a short period of time, a finite period of time, until you start to identify some of the commonalities of the best people and the commonalities of the worst people. And then you got to start getting selective immediately. But you can't just take on anybody and everybody forever unless you're trying to be the Walmart of your business. What do I mean by being a Walmart of your business? It means you just take on anything and everything. All right, you want to be the cockroach of your business. You want to be the pig of your business. What do I mean by that? Cockroaches and pigs will eat pretty much anything. All right, is that you? Is that what you want to do? Is that the kind of business you want? You'll just take on anybody, doesn't matter who they are? I'll tell you a funny story. This is about 2019. No, it's probably before that. Maybe 2018. I had this guy schedule a call with us. And at the time, I was taking all the calls. So he got on a call with me about being coached. He had sent an email and he had said he was interested in getting coached. So we got on a Zoom call to talk about coaching. And I get to talking to this guy. And I asked him, one of the first things I asked him was, well, how do you know me? Where do you know me from? How did you find out about me? Because I wasn't familiar with his name. I had never seen him in any of our customer lists, or I'd never seen him on social or anything like that. At least I didn't think I had. And he said, yeah, I didn't know who you were until 2 days ago, a couple nights ago. And I said, okay, cool. Where did you find out about me? And he said, this is a true story. He said he was intoxicated. I can't remember if it was alcohol or some type of drug he was taking. It was one or the other. But he was intoxicated, and it was like 12 o'clock at night. And he thought to himself, and again, I'm not making this up. He thought to himself, what if I had Dr. Dre as a coach? And then he went on Google and he looked up having Dr. Dre as a coach. And since Dr. Dre, the rapper, I guess does not offer coaching services, the next best thing came up, which was Dre Baldwin as a coach. And that's how he found my coaching page. And that's how we ended up on a Zoom call. That is not a joke. That really happened. And that conversation lasted about 4 minutes until I got him off the phone. The whole point being, I'm telling you all that to tell you this, that if I wanted to be Walmart in my business, I would have took that dude on as a coaching client, because I'm just saying I'm taking on anybody and everybody. I would have let him pay me. He might have still been high. I probably could have got him to go through with the transaction because he was too high to realize what the hell he was doing and kept the money. The whole point being, I don't want people like that. All right, and you should not either. I'm telling you this as a word of warning so that you don't make any mistakes. Now, I didn't take on that guy as a client, but I have taken on some bums as clients, and it was my fault, because I either didn't realize them to be a bum before they showed themselves to be a bum, which is my fault for not doing my due diligence. Like they say, show me the Carfax. I didn't look at the Carfax on that person, and I made a mistake in judgment. Or B, I noticed that they were a bum, but I was so much thinking about, I allowed my greed for the money I was going to make to supersede my judgment about not taking on bums. And I put the money in front of my judgment, and I ended up paying for it in the end. Even though I got paid, I ended up paying for it in the end, because the cost of taking on that money and having to deal with that bum outweighed the money that I actually made. Everybody understand? And again, the person who's at the top of your industry, whoever you think that is, the only difference between them and you is they're doing a better job of marketing, branding, selling themselves, which means they are getting to pick their clients, whereas you are just taking on anybody. You don't want that. All right. Those of you who are in the open dating market, do you want to just take on whoever is interested in you, or do you want to take on the person you want? Okay. All right. So treat your business the exact same way. Don't just take on the person who wants you if you're not interested in them, because then that smells like what it is. It smells like desperation. It smells like you're just taking on anything just so you don't feel like you're by yourself. Now, in the dating space, there are different factors to go into this, but I'm using it as a loose parallel here. Don't try to play Jesus and save people who are not in position or don't have the mindset to be saved. I'm talking about business now. Back to the business topic. Don't play Jesus. You are not God. All right? You cannot save a person who doesn't want to be saved. So do not force someone to become a client of yours, even though you could talk them into paying you, because, again, you have to work with this person. Now, if you're selling a product, it's a different story. If I'm selling hot dogs, I could talk you into buying a hot dog because I don't care if you eat the hot dog or not. I got your money already. But if I got to service you, now I got to talk to you again next week. I don't want that. I don't want to deal with you. This will be a waste of time for you, a waste of time for them. Nobody's going to be happy in the end. And you don't get to look good, because not like you could use them as a success story of your work, because they're not going to be a success. I told you they were a bum. Now, you can't turn a bum into a success. Identify your ideal person and only work with people who look and sound like them. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to run an ideal client-based business. Number 3, Avoid bums and losers at all costs. One of the things I told you about the traits of high level performers is that they religiously avoid nonsense. And nonsense in that context means anything that is not directly related to your goals. So in the client-based business, you avoid bums and losers. Who are they? They are anybody who does not share the common traits of your ideal clients, members, customers, etc. Bums and losers. And you need to be clear what a bum or a loser is for your business, because different people for different businesses for different reasons. So this is the work that you need to do to figure out who this person is. This is a category that you get to define, again, based on you, who you want to serve, and the nature of your business and your past experience. For every business, there are bums and losers. There are bums and losers in every single industry. You need to know who the bums and losers are in your industry based on your specific business and your specific desires. Because you may have a colleague in your business who does the same thing as you, and they actually are okay with taking on somebody who you are absolutely not okay with taking on. Have you ever seen the TV show Shark Tank, where 5 or 6 millionaire and billionaire investors, they let a entrepreneur come up into the Shark Tank and present a business, and they're basically trying to get an investment or maybe even sell their entire business to one of the sharks. And when entrepreneurs come into the Shark Tank and they first introduce their business, they say, all right, this is the name of my business. This is what it is. This is what it does. Often, early in the presentation of the entrepreneur talking about their business, one of the 5 or 6 sharks that is sitting up on the table, if you've never seen the show, you will have to see it to get the picture of what I'm saying. One of these investors, because all of them are eligible to invest, and sometimes they end up getting into bidding wars with each other over investing in the business. But oftentimes, at the same time, one of the sharks will say very early in the presentation, I'm out. I'm not interested in investing in this product because I just don't like dealing with products in this industry. Whereas one of the other sharks is really excited because they love dealing with products in that industry. So, for example, if someone has a tech-based product, then Damon John, who's a guy who was one of the founders of FUBU, the clothing brand, he's a guy who does a lot in the retail and clothing space. So if something is tech-based, he will say, I'm out. I'm not interested in this unless I can partner with one of these other guys on the Shark Tank who is a tech guy, because I don't know enough about tech for this to make sense for me. This is a bad deal for me. So he will be out, even though somebody else will be in. If there's a product, for example, that could easily be sold on QVC, like something that could be sold in the infomercial market, then someone like Lori Grenier, who's she calls herself the queen of QVC, she will be very interested. Whereas somebody who is more based in the tech stuff, they may say, well, I'm not interested in this because this product doesn't make sense for my business portfolio. And there was one time I was watching it and a guy came up, he was an entrepreneur, and someone was asking him, okay, what's the revenue of your business? After he introduced the business and said what it was and what it does, how much revenue did your business do last year? And the guy said, my company is pre-revenue. And pre-revenue means we have not sold anything yet. So basically they had an idea, but they had not gotten any market proof that this product was viable in the market because nobody bought it yet. And Mark Cuban jumped up. He didn't jump up, but he immediately said very loudly, I'm out. Because he said, I'm not interested in any products that are pre-revenue. You haven't made any money yet. I'm not even interested because I need proof that your product can actually sell. I'm not investing in anything like that. But the other sharks kept listening because they wanted to hear what else he had to say. So the point being, just because you're out doesn't mean everybody else is out. Just because somebody else is out doesn't mean that you're out. And these are all successful people. So everything ain't for everybody. That's the point that I want you to understand here. So there are people who are the absolute worst fit for you in what you're doing. And there are people who you should never service regardless of how much money they offer you. But they'd be great somewhere else. I know I have a lot of athletic coaches who listen to this show. All right. Some of you have certain types of players who you are simply not interested in. All right. If you're this type of player, if you got this type of grades, you got this type of attitude, if you had this happen at the last school you were at, I'm not interested, but somebody's going to take that player, right? It might not be you, but somebody's going to take on that individual. So again, everything ain't for everybody, and that's completely okay. That's exactly how it should be. So there are people who are the absolute worst fit for you and people you should never service regardless of what they're offering. All right. They won't value you. They will not implement what you share, and they will not make you look or feel good in the process. So this is a lose, lose, lose all around. All right. And if you happen to make a mistake and start servicing these people, get rid of them immediately. Okay. Immediately get rid of them. I'm fortunate enough to say that I've worked with a handful of bums and losers in my own business, and I call myself fortunate to have worked with some bums and losers. Why? Because as I already told you, it helps me get clarity on what a bum or a loser looks like and the similarities amongst them so that I can spot them before they come into my world. I can catch them before they get here. So I can rejection market myself to them to make sure they never get close enough. They never get within arm's reach of me because I want to keep them away so I don't have to deal with that problem ever again. All right, you want to do the exact same thing. You want to know who to avoid and who to reject. Moving on to, actually, let me tell you one more thing about this because I talked about this actually in episode number 2509. The title is Deion Sanders Wrong? And it wasn't really about Deion Sanders, but it was a comment that Deion made. Someone was asking him, what kind of players do you want to recruit? Deion, if you don't know, is a former NFL football player. He's now a coach as of this recording. He's a college football coach. And someone was asking him, what type of players do you want to recruit? And he talked about, on offense, we want this type of player. On defense, we want this type of player. He started describing the type of backgrounds he wanted players from. He said, on offense, I want players from two-parent homes who had a mother and a father at home, and they're no yes sir, no sir, people who listen. I want coachable type of individuals. But on defense, on the defensive line specifically, he was saying, I want some kids who come from single-parent homes, kids basically from the ghetto, from the hood, who might have missed some meals. They missed some breakfasts and some lunches and some dinners growing up. They're just hungry and they're just grimy and they're just ready to go get it. He didn't say all those in the exact same words, but that was the sentiment that he was putting across, and it led to a lot of discussion to the point that I even made a whole episode about it. The point being, he knew what he wanted, he knew what he didn't want. All right, that's the same thing I'm saying to you. Point number 4. Today's topic, once again, is keys to having a successful client-based business. Number 4, there is a quantity of quality with a caveat. Quantity of quality. Sometimes you hear people talk about these two things as if they are diametrically opposed. Quantity, which is a lot of things, or quality, which is a high level of a thing, but maybe less of it. You got to be clear what quality means for you. What is quality for you? Again, this is all based on your business and how you decide to operate. There's no right or wrong answer. All right, a quantity for you, again, quantity may be 500 people. You want 500 people in your business, 500 customers a month or a year or whatever. Quantity for other people could be 10 people. There are people out there who run programs where they only want to deal with 10 customers at a time, just 10 people. Just 10 people total. The entire business is 10 people. And again, because of how much money those people are spending and what you're doing for those 10 people, that could be great for you. If you had a mastermind that was $1 million a piece, and you said, I'm only letting 10 people in, and you filled it up, all right, that's $10 million, and you got to service those 10 people for a whole year. Would you be okay with that? Okay, you don't need any more customers, do you? Okay, you'd be all right with that. But other people, depending on what you're selling, if you're Walmart, all right, 10 customers is not good, all right, because your products cost $6, all right, 10 customers, all right, I don't know if you can pay the light bill with that. All right, so you have to decide what you want. What is it? What makes sense for you? It depends on you and your choices. So how many people can use your service at the highest level and at what numbers? Again, all decisions you must make based on many factors, not just that. Number of people, number of things, what do they get? How much are they paying? Everything else that goes into servicing them, what are you giving them? This is all your job to figure out when you're operating a business, folks. And this is the reason why I have the coaching program, to help people figure these things out so you're not flying by the seat of your pants and grinding blindly and hoping that you happen across the right answer. You want to actually have the right answer, not only the right answer, but also the right question. Let's recap today's class, which is the keys to a successful client-based business. And again, client-based business means you're offering a service and you're continuing to deal with people even after they have done a transaction with you. Point number 1, the best coaches have the best players. All right, Phil Jackson has 11 championships because he coached Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, not because Phil Jackson is a genius. Phil Jackson may be a genius, but we don't know because he had 2 geniuses as his players, and you want to do the exact same thing. Maybe you're a genius, but we'll never know because you pick such great clients that they make you look good, and we don't ever have to find out if you're actually a genius. Point number 2, stop trying to do magic. All right, you do not have the ability to turn a bum into a superstar. And Phil Jackson, he might have been good, but he wasn't that good. All right, he wasn't going to turn a nobody into Michael Jordan. All he did was help Michael Jordan become more of Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan would have been Mike even without Phil Jackson. And Kobe, the exact same thing. You ain't God, you ain't Jesus. You don't need to turn anybody into Michael Jordan. You want to go find Michael Jordan and help Michael Jordan do more Michael Jordan things. That's the smart way to do business. Number 3, avoid bums and losers. Again, this is a category that you get to define. Who is a bum and a loser for you? It is not the same for everybody. Your version of a bum may be somebody else's version of a superstar, depending on the circumstance. One man's trash is another man's treasure. You have to decide what that is for you. And if you are clear on that, it'll make it easy for you to make decisions. And number 4, there is a quantity of quality. With a caveat, you got to be clear what quality means. Is quality 10 people? Is quality 500 people? Is quality $10? Is quality $10 million? What is it for you? You have to decide. You have to figure this out. And this helps you make decisions, helps you decide how you're going to run your business, and everything else flows from there. Text me so you're in my community. My number's down below in the description. Also, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want to work with me directly, have me as your direct coach so you can get answers to questions like the ones that I pose here today and get clear on what the questions need to be for you, your business, and specifically your situations. You can move yourself forward, not tomorrow, not next month, not next year, but right now with my direct help. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all